Wayne has finally given us the Carter 5. It's been a long time coming, man. People have waited friggin' years for this. This has been a long time coming. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who this man is at this point. I'm not really going to give him any kind of introduction. All I'm going to say is the Carter 1, 2 and 3 are really good in my opinion. In fact, I think the Carter is really great and probably my favourite out of the three. Although I'm not certain on that, I would have to listen to them all again to make sure. He then released a lot of shit, which everyone is aware of at this point. He became a guy that a lot of people consider one of the worst of all time because of the amount of shit he's given us. But a lot of hip hop heads still see him as a legend in the game because of the amount of great work he put out in the 2000s. But you know, the 2010s have been very bad for the man, to say the least. And he features on so many trashy songs these days. Like it's unbelievable the amount of songs like in like 2014ish he was like featured on that just was the worst thing like ever. But still, whenever a Carter project comes around, apart from the Carter 4, people get hyped because they know this is the Wayne they want. This is the Wayne they want. Wayne rapping without doing the shitty pop rap shit that's like become what like he's known for and all that kind of stuff. They want this. And so what does he do? He gives us the Carter 5, which is 90 minutes long. For fuck's sake, 90 minutes long. Who told you to do this? Look, I'm not saying that a 90-minute album is always going to be a bad thing. I have an attention span, you know, but come on. 90 minutes. I mean, even like the Carters had filler, but they were never this long. Like, they were never this long. Ugh. However, surprisingly, with all the filler that there is on this album, I think overall it ends up being a pretty decent album. Like, overall, when you weigh up all the bad tracks with the good tracks, I think there are more good tracks than there are bad. Just slightly, but just enough for me to at least call this decent. Of course though, we have an XXX feature right at the start of this album, and once that came on, I was ready to turn this off because I thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. But luckily that is by far the worst track. I mean, Don't Cry has some of the worst singing ever. I cannot believe, wow, the singing from X on this track. Holy shit. It's gonna gain traction though. It's very easy for rappers to do these features now. You know, he's an artist that passed away. He's an artist a lot of people see as being like a great, for whatever reason that is, I'm not sure. But it's easy to get a hit if you just have him featured on your track, even if it's just like posthumous vocals or whatever, because it's going to gain traction. But it's a real shame because it's easily the worst track here and probably one of the worst songs I've heard all year. But then luckily we start getting into good stuff as soon as this is over. The thing is with Carter 5 though is that like you get a great spell after Don't Cry of like 5 or 6 tracks that I would say are really good, but then you get another 5 or 6 clumped in the middle that complete throwaway, and it's a real shame because I thought the quality was just going to keep going. Like I thought after we got Dedicate and then the following tracks after that, like I really thought it was just going to keep going. Uproar, which is a straight up banger, and like I said, Dedicate is a great track where he talks about how like, you know, he's a guy that made the game what it is, and to be honest, he really did. He's influenced nearly everyone in the game that's currently around right now, and I don't think there would be a big trap scene if it really wasn't for Lil Wayne in the 2000s doing what he did. Let It Fly with Travis Scott, great track. You can clearly see that Travis Scott has been influenced by Lil Wayne, so it's nice to, you know, get that little collaboration. It works really well too. Even Dark Side of the Moon with Nicki Minaj, I mean, I thought this was going to be trash as fuck, but she does some nice singing on here. I mean, I can't take away from the fact that, surprisingly, she can sing well on this track. I thought we were going to get like a really bad verse from her, but we didn't. In tracks like Open Letter, What About Me? What About Me is like the worst hook I could ever imagine. Fuck, man. Some of these hooks, like on Famous as well, oh, they're just awful. And it's like Lil Wayne's doing a decent job, like on the verses, but then he just picks like the worst choruses that he could ever pick because I don't really know why. It must be a Young Money thing or something, because this is like quite a common thing across this record label, to be honest. But then there are a few tracks as well that are just like the complete definition of filler, like Hitters and Problems, where I don't know, Wayne doesn't sound particularly terrible on these tracks, but like there's not really anything to the beat, there's nothing really anything unique about them. It just sounds like any other modern day rap song, to be honest. Now, it's probably due to the fact that so many people, sound like Wayne now, but a part of me thinks that it's also because he's trying to emulate other artists in the game to sort of keep up with how things currently sound. I mean, yeah, sure, people like Young Thug have been influenced by Lil Wayne, but obviously Young Thug's kind of gone on to do his own thing now and sound like himself, whereas on this Carter 5, at times it sounds like he's just doing like a Drake impression. Obviously they've collaborated so much in the past, but on tracks like Open Letter, Problems, like it really just sounds like he's doing that sing-song thing that Drake's been doing for the past few years. It's just really hard to shake away because obviously Drake has been massively influenced by Lil Wayne, but Wayne has probably been influenced by Drake too, and he's ended up making a few tracks here that are as boring as anything you would find on Scorpion or Views or any other Drake album. It's like he's kind of part of the wave now as opposed to creating the wave, which is fine. There are a lot of great tracks on here, but there is just those few moments where it doesn't really have much of an impact, to be honest. There are so many great hooks and beats on here though, like I can't deny tracks like Snoop Dogg, the Snoop Dogg feature, and then tracks 15 to 18 has a really good run of like just great tracks that have interesting production choices. Like it's not just a simple trap beat or anything like that. There's actually quite a lot to them. Start this shit off, like has this really nice soulful influence, has a bit of like a jazz like swing to it as well, some nice singing from the feature, and the beat on Open Safe is just so like speedy. The way Wayne is over this beat is just accelerated, and yeah, I really like it, man. Same with Took His Time. There's just like, these are just really good beats. I wouldn't really understand if someone were to say, oh, this whole album is just generic. Like, I don't think it is. There are some really good moments here. Even the last two tracks, like Used To, like they're not really doing anything all that original, but I think they sound good for what they are. Like it's not exactly lyrical or anything like that. I mean, this whole project isn't exactly, a lyrical project in any kind of way. Apart from tracks like Dedicate, I do think there are good lyrical themes on there, but for the most part, there are some weak moments. I mean, there's even one track where he like keeps rhyming line over and over again. But for what they are, I mean, it's like most of modern day trap where, you're not really meant to take the lyrics all that seriously. And to be honest, I think Wayne is still better at rapping than most of the people he's influenced these days, to be honest. I probably sound like a bit of an old head, but I don't really fucking care because I'm gonna get more out of this Wayne album than I would listening to 21 Savage, to be honest, or a Kodak Black. Like seriously, there's certainly more here than there are on those albums. I will say though that for me, even though this is going to be a big highlight for a lot of people, I think the Mona Lisa track, which has apparently been out for quite a few years, which I didn't know anything about, but that's not really an issue to listening to this album or anything. But yeah, I'm not really feeling this one. It actually sticks out a little bit in an odd way. Like it doesn't sound like anything on the album, so I'm just not sure how it's meant to fit in. I mean, the fact that I found out it's a few years old did actually make quite a lot of sense because it just doesn't sound like anything on this album. It's got a bit of like a horrorcore element. Kendrick comes through, doesn't really impress me all that much with his verse. I just don't think this is the kind of song that should be on this type of album, to be honest. I think it's a weaker track, and I would probably throw it away in the grander context of the whole thing, actually. And that's the thing, to be honest. 23 tracks here, I would throw away like 11 of them, maybe even a few more, but I think out of the whole thing, there is certainly an 11 or 12 track album here that's worth your time. Basically what I've done is that I've just deleted all the filler off of my Apple Music and kept the best tracks. There are like 11 or 12 tracks that I've kept. If it was an 11, 12 track album of all the best ones, it would have been a great album. I'm not gonna lie, it would have been like an 8 out of 10 because I genuinely enjoy all of the tracks that I've kept, but it's 23 tracks instead, and not every track is worth your time, which is a real shame. So taking into account the amount I have cut, it does really drop this score quite a bit. But even tracks that I have cut, like Mess, which is like an acoustic-y, emo rap type song, it's actually not bad for what it is. Like a lot of the, there's a lot of like emo rap around these days, and it comes across as really like blah, and it's getting quite old. Whereas on this track, I think Wayne does a pretty decent job. So even though like I wouldn't keep this on the album, I wouldn't say it's all that bad. And that goes for a couple of other tracks too. They're just filling up space. They're not exactly bad or anything. They're just not really worth the runtime of this album. They could have been cut. So with all that taken into account, I'm gonna go 6.5 out of 10. I think it's pretty decent. It certainly should have been a lot shorter, but hey, I got a lot of tracks here. I got a lot of tracks that I would take away and gladly listen to because I think they are actually really good. Let me know your thoughts if you've heard this album. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Have a good day. Let me know your thoughts. Have a good day. Tell me the best The Carter too. The Carter. The Carter. Tell me the best The Carter. Tell me your favourite Carter album if you have one. Tell me if you hate Wayne. Whatever. Tell me your thoughts. Have a good day. Bye.